Okay, so this is your dashboard. So when you sign into Uncrew Portal, it'll take you to PBS bids for the month under monthly bids. And you'll hit this, and this is what you'll see. So here you'll see your employee number. You'll see your percentage for the month. Remember, this number will change because of rotation. So for this particular month, I'm at 45%, which is 854 of 1,882. Okay. Here you'll see there's 2,488 total bidders. The targeted line is 1,882, which means that there's 1,882 positions that'll be line holders, and there'll be 606 reserves. Up here is your clock that tells you when the bid closes and when it opens. Here's my seniority out of 854 out of 1882. It's almost in the middle for this month. My trading month is December.
And then the blue are seniority.
And here's a calendar right here on this side. Okay, so this is where if I was going to bid any days off, I would be bidding on this calendar. You can also see there's a layer calendar. Anything that I do here will show up here. So for instance, it's January 1st, the first of the month. I want to have it off, and I want to make sure I have it off in every layer I bid. So I'm hitting right here on all 7 layers, and then I'm going to hit add bid. You can see here that day goes off all the way through 7 layers, and it's showing here. I can hit layer here, and all my layers that day is off. Just remember, when you are selecting a day off, it takes away from the selections, the pairings in the pool in that layer. Taking one day off, whatever trips hit that day are gone. They're out of my pairing pools. Okay, so if I go over here to this layer tab, I have a bid in there already. So that's my bid that I did already. Okay, so you can see that if I take this day and I take it out, watch these numbers right here. See how that number just went up? Because I took that day off away, but I'm going to keep it on there.
So if I wanted a couple days off, certain like I want second and fourth Thursday of every month, I would probably do that for maybe 4 layers and then open it up.
Or you could do it for every day. It just depends what you bid.
Well, I don't want to
restrict yourself. You can be specific, but you don't want to be restrictive. But it's a numbers game. So by doing that, see
what layer to stop doing that.
Right.
So you get a decent trip.
That's one way to do it. Yep.
Would it be smart, layer 7, not have the same days off? Because you're really painting yourself into a corner?
7 could be your catch-all, and you could have no days off.
Catch-all.
But it's, once again, it's a numbers game. See I'm in my layer tab here? We haven't gotten there yet, but I'm looking at numbers. So every time I do something, it's going to affect those numbers. I want to cover myself to make sure by the time I get to layer 7 that there's enough for me to bid.
But at least you're not guessing because you see how many
Yeah.
that you've got in there.
Exactly.
So you kind of know as you're bidding where you should adjust.
Right, exactly. So I'm going to go back to the dashboard. So any days off, specific days off I'm bidding, you're telling the system a day off is more important to me than anything else because it's restricting my pairing pools. It's telling them, do not give me a trip on this day.
That's pretty much what you've bid for this year.
If days off are important to you, that's where you would bid. So I'm going to leave the first off for this instance. Okay, we're going to go over here to the days off tab. Right here, these properties, there's 7 properties in the days off tab. These are line properties, okay? These are things that affect the way my line looks. They don't affect the pairing numbers in the initial bid. They just are properties I can use for days off. And if you read down, minimum days off between work blocks. Let's say I'm somebody that needs 4 days off. Minimum would be 4 days off between work blocks. That means the system isn't going to award me in whatever layer I put this. It's not going to award me any trips without giving me that 4-day off block. Okay? Maximize weekend days off doesn't guarantee a result, okay? What that means is it's going to try to give me as many weekend days off as the system can at the layer where I put that, okay? So, and it'll follow through, but it may not give me all Saturdays and Sundays. It might give me a Saturday. It might give me a Saturday and a Sunday. It might give me all Sundays. It's at my seniority. If I don't want to tell it exactly the weekend days off that I need, it's going to maximize the ability of the system to give me as many weekend days off as it can. Okay?
So in layer one, like all I care about is my days off, right? So in layer one, I will bid, Friday, Saturday, 4th, 5th, 11th, 12th, 18th, 19th. Then in layer two, should I go and hit maximize?
You can, or you could take away 2 of those days that you bid that specifically in layer one, and it's going to open up the numbers for you. Because I'm guessing that if you bid, let's say there are 8 weekends that you bid, right? I'm guessing 2 of those weekends are more important than the other 2. So I, in layer 2, instead of letting the system do it for me, because it's a crapshoot, I would say these 2 weekends are more important. The other 2 weekends, I'm going to take a Saturday away. I'm going to take a Sunday away. The next layer, I'm going to take the alternate Sunday away and the Saturday away. Now I've gotten through 3 layers, right? Told them exactly what I want in layer 1. In layer 2, I opened it up a little bit. In layer 3, I opened it up differently. So I'm creating more numbers, right? Does that make sense? Maybe in layer 4, then I say, okay, if I can't have that's what I want, I take away the 2 weekends completely, those other 2 that aren't as important, right? And then maybe in layer 5, I say maximize weekend days off.
So, right, like I love football, so Sundays is my day to be off. So when would I put in, or when would a person put in for then specific trips? Like what layer?
Well, if you're putting in specific trips, you could put it in every layer. It's up to you.
Oh, okay.
Okay?
You're doing both.
Putting in specific trips is telling the system the days off you need. So it negates the point of giving it days off. If I tell the system what I want, it knows then that I want on Mondays Sao Paulo. Well, you don't want it on Sunday because you told it you want it on Monday.
Does that conflict the system?
It would conflict if you had added a generic property. If you said, I want any Sao Paulo, and then you think, oh, I want any Sao Paulo except on Sunday, then you would put, or you put day off and Sao Paulo.
How do you know if it understands and or?
Because you don't mix generic with specific. Use either or.
What
It's
happens
either or.
if you do mix them?
Well, it's like going from here to Newport Beach. If I go from here to Newport Beach and I put it into my Google and it gives me one route and that's the route I decide to take, I'm going to go from point A to point B. There's 5 opportunities for me to get to Newport Beach, right? But I'm only going to pick one. So if I say to the system, my car, I say, just take me to Newport Beach. It could take me to any one of those 5. But I want one. I don't want to confuse the system. I want one way to get there.
So you wouldn't put all weekends off, then specific trips.
Well, if you put weekends off and then you put specific trips,
It's redundant.
Duplicity. It's redundant. Exactly.
Got it.
It doesn't. It's you're telling it. I
Got
want these trips. You don't need to tell me the days off. I know because they don't go out on those
Can
days.
you think of it as a Christmas tree, very narrow up top?
Yeah, you
And
can.
you depend whether it gets fat right away
No,
or stays narrow?
As long as you're adding in, it
Right.
depends. Everybody's bid is different.
Right.
You might say layer 1, 2, and 3. I have to fly position 2, and I
Got it.
want to fly it on these 3 destinations.
Got it.
Your top of your Christmas tree is going to be very narrow, right?
Right.
If you can't hold 2 in those 3 destinations,
As well.
you're going to get a fat tree in layer 4 because you're like, I'll do any position, but I need those 3 destinations. Suddenly, it's not wrong.
No.
Because you're just like, after 3, you're like, I just want to go to those places, but I don't care about the position.
You don't
at
have
that
enough
point.
seniority to hold your dream
Exactly. Yeah.
in 1, 2, and 3.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, it's pretty
Yes.
much like how I did now.
If I just want like the first 5 days off of the month,
Uh-huh.
and I don't care what I fly,
Then you bid the first 5 days of the month off on that calendar.
and just the time, like departure time and arrival time,
No, you want them off,
Details.
right?
Right.
You want them
5
off.
days.
Then bid those days off. After that, it's just like a regular bid, but you bid them off on the calendar, on the big calendar,
That's the very first.
because
thing I
that's
do.
you're telling the system a day. When you put a day off on, like it turns to turquoise, that is the most important thing for me. to have that off. And then after that, you can do whatever you want. Yeah. But remember, 5 days off is 5 days off in a bid month. So if you're not bidding low, 5 days off is taking a lot out of the pairing pool. So remember that as you're going through and you're checking your layer tab, your numbers have to be in a place. If you're super senior, 5 days off, big deal, your numbers will be fine. But if you're somewhere in the middle, taking 5 days off is very restrictive depending on what time. Remember, most of our flying is on the weekend. Some people don't fly weekends.
Right.
So you've already created a restriction for yourself because most of the flying goes out Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So if you're somebody that only flies Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, you are less likely to get your first choices if you're not in the top 10%. Because there's less flying Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. We don't. That's just the way the operation of the airline.
So it's very difficult to get like a stack of days off. 5.
No, but it's not hard to get it. But you're gonna have to be realistic about the rest of your month, is what I'm saying.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't care.
Yeah. So
If-
that's just it. Because a day off is the most important thing for you.
Yeah.
When you are saying that. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Okay. So then, other properties of days off properties, maximize total days off. Doesn't tell you where they're going to be. It's just going to try to give you the most it can.
I have a question about days off because this is going to be really important for me. We're buying a house in Portugal and I want to have the first 2 weeks of the month off.
Mhm.
Or no, I want to work the first 2 weeks of this 1 month off and have the second 2 weeks off. And I want to do the reverse on the following month so I can have a month in the middle
Right.
there.
Mhm.
And then work just 2 weeks of anything. And then work 2
Yeah.
weeks of
So
anything.
you're gonna bid. You're gonna days off for you is a priority. So you're gonna want to go to the calendar and you're gonna mark out those days off
So
because
we do
these
string
things
of-
aren't gonna. The string of days off, unless you have vacation, it's not. This is not gonna work for you. You need to specifically say where you want your days off.
Okay. That was
Again, how many days off can you put on the calendar?
Well, you can put as many as you want, but
Alright,
you're not
follow
going to
time.
be. Yeah,
somehow you gotta
you're-
get 40 hours.
you got to get 40 hours in. So, but that being said, if you're senior enough to hold 2 Shanghais and you put a Shanghai the first 2 weeks or 2 Shanghai the first 2 weeks, you're done, right? You waive your 30 and 7, you waive your thing, you're done in 6
I don't
days.
know, I'm on the backup reserve list.
Yeah, well, we all are. So, but do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you gotta force the system to do what you want.
Yeah, and I like that because now I don't have to trade. I could just
No, you don't have to.
throw it in
But
there.
you always can if something comes up and you need to do it. It's always an option that you will always
Figure
get
out how to
the
do it
2 at the
first
bottom
week.
and the 2 at the top. You always have a way to do it. So, but I would not. I have never used any of these properties, days off properties, because I think the way that I tell the system what I want to do, right, is telling it what the days off are. So, like for you, your strategy is I'm gonna block these days off. I'm gonna force
Don't
that
mess-
40
don't make me
hours.
come back.
Yeah, exactly. I'm gonna force the time into where I need it to be. Right? Makes sense. But they're here for you to use if you want to use them. I'm not saying that it's wrong to use them. I just personally, that's not my thing. I don't use those. Okay, so days off and line properties are the construction. So you look at days off and line properties, you look at those as the blueprint of your line. Okay, they don't affect the pairing totals, the numbers in your tree, your Christmas tree, but they are construction properties. So the line properties under the line tab, let's go to plus here. And we'll go through a couple of them. This is the most important, and this is the one I use. And if you're a low time flyer, this is going to be important to you. It's target credit range. So for me, I'm a low time flyer as well. I go 40 to 50. 40, as we know, is now the new low. And I put that in my layer 1, layer 2, and I layer 3. I add it to my bid. Okay? I hit it again, and I say, if you can't give me that low time, give me 50 to 60. And I put that in layer 4 and 5. Okay? Then I hit it again, and I say 60 to 70. To 70 in layer 6. And then the median is my layer 7. Don't make me work over 70, but if you have to, we know that it's going to be 70 to 6. 70 to 80, because that's typically is the median in the dashboard. It shows up at the top. 70 to 80 is my layer 7, if that's my catch-all, right? That's my backup if I have to. But this is personally me. This is how I construct my low time bid. If you're a high time flyer, you would do it reverse. You'd go 100 to 110 layers 1, 2, and 3. Then you'd go 90 to 100 layers 4 and 5. 80 to 90 in layer 6, and then 70 to 80 in layer 7. Does that make sense? Okay, so that's, target criteria is important. Maximize credit. Maximizing credit, that's just give me the most at that layer, okay? So if I want to maximize credit in layer 1, it's going to give me whatever I'm bidding in layer 1, give me the most. Maximize international credit gives me the most international credit at that layer. Remember, NIPD and IPD are in the PBS world the same. If I say maximize international credit, and in the same layer I'm putting NIPD, which is Hawaii, and IPD, it's going to give me the max of whatever it is of those things I can do. So many of those Hawaii 1 days, right? If the system's going to give you a bunch of those Hawaii 1 days, it's going to get you maximum more than 3 Shanghais would or whatever, it would do that thing. So careful with that, how you divvy that up.
Why would it do that?
Because
It's just
a
an
maximum
example because you
hours.
said maximize.
Oh,
Yeah.
When you say maximize, it's going to do the best it can for you
like
at
my
that
tower.
layer.
So you have to
Right.
specify the IPD versus the.
If you're going to use it,
Max-
you don't have to
if
use it.
you're
Though.
gonna use max.
I wouldn't use it. I wouldn't use it.
I wouldn't use it.
It's there to use, but you don't have to. Okay, work block size. Also, if you're somebody that's a commuter, or even if you're not, if you want to do like two days back to back, you would put 4 and 4, because that would be minimum 4, maximum 4, right? Work block size. If you're bidding 2 days and all you care about is 2 days, you go 2-2. Work block size. If you're bidding, if you want 2-3 days back to back, remember there's other waivers that will have to apply probably, but you could do minimum 6 and 6. Or if you want either 1 3-day or 2 3 days, you go 3 to 6, whatever your work block size is, in whatever layer. Prefer cadence on day of week. That's pretty self-explanatory. Let's say you want all trips going out on a Monday. You put that layer. If it can't satisfy you, let's say I put GRU and I say Monday. If it can't satisfy it, it just moves on. Doesn't hold out, doesn't try to make it happen somewhere else. It just moves on to the next layer. Commutable work block. This gives you the time, report, and release times. It does not, however, tell you what goes on in between. So if you say I need a commutable work block, and my work block is a 6-day work block, and I say I would need to report at noon, and I need to release by 5, right? Doesn't tell what's going to happen in the middle. Commutable makes it a misnomer for me because I was a commuter for many years. I do care what happens in the middle. So it's kind of a weird property to use. I wouldn't use it. Pairing mix in a work block, okay? This means that let's say if my work block was 6, but I only want a 2-day and a 4-day, and I want it in that particular layer, I would hit it, put in the layer, and it's going to try to give me the 2 and the 4-day in that 6-day work block. Okay, that's something, yeah.
That's good for
If you're
me.
somebody that likes to put stuff together and get it over with, that might work for you.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Now, where did you, so you have previously put a work block of how
If
many
you have,
people,
yes, if you usually have previously put a work block size in there,
and that would be under work block size, okay, I see it.
up there.
Yeah, right after.
Yeah.
Maximize.
So, pairing mix. Okay, so allow double ups. You guys all know what a double up is, right? Okay, so if you do this allow double up on a date, that means you have to have gone and looked for those 2 trips that you're doubling up. Just like now, let's say you have a trip that gets in from Chicago at 9 in the morning and you want to pick up something to double up continuous duty day on ETB, you have to do the work. You have to go look for the trips and how they go together on that specific date, okay? Allow multiple pairings, that's I come in the morning, I go out at night, there's a legal break in between. There's allow multiple pairings, allows that thing in your bid, and then there's also allows it on date, okay? That's a specific date, okay? Allow co-terminal mix in a work block. That means I come into LAX, but I want to go out of Orange County. I come into LAX, I want to go to Ontario. I come into Ontario, I want to go to LAX. Whatever. Okay? Clear bids, don't use it. It's very, very complicated, and it's advanced. It's an advanced thing. Basically, as an example, let's say I'm somebody who's bidding, and I either want to do all East flying or I want to do all West flying, but I don't want to have 2 Londons and 1 Shanghai. So I bid all the Londons, right? And then in my 4th layer, I clear the bids, and then I bid all the go East. What this does is it's going to start over wherever I clear it. So if it gave you 2 Londons, now it's going to get rid of those Londons and it's going to start over. Don't do it. Because if you get 2 Londons and 1 Shanghai, you're going to be able to swap something and do it. Don't use the clear bids because you've lost then your first 3 layers of the work you did in that example. So it's a very advanced property. If you want to use it, just call the fabric. They'll walk you through it. Waive 24-hour rest in domicile. That's self-explanatory. That may be something you want to pursue. Waive 30 and 7 also is something you may remember. You got to waive these things because in the world now, when you bid a line and you bid a line that involves this, you've waived it, right? But you are now waiving it. These are protections in the contract, so you have to actually ask the system to waive it. Okay. Waive minimum domicile rest. That's self-explanatory. Waive carryover credit. So if you're a high-time flyer and you've got 20 hours going in next month and you're going to bid up to 110 next month, you don't want that 20 to be counted towards that 110, right? Because you would like a 130-hour check. You waive your carryover. It takes that 20 out in the bid, right from the top. That carryover takes the 20 out, and yeah, so you can go to 110, then you can do it again the next month.
Because we can't do that right now.
Yes, that's correct. So it gives you the option to do that. Avoid person and buddy with. That's self-explanatory. I think. Okay. I'm gonna get rid of this. I forgot that I already did a mock bidding here. So when it comes right,
I'm sorry. What was that waive domicile rest?
it's waive minimum domicile rest.
Okay.
I think the minimum between domestic is 8 something. 8:30.
Minimum domicile. Isn't that the same as waive the 24 hours?
No. Waive 24-hour rest in domicile is that means you'll take it somewhere else. You'll take it over in Europe, or if that's waiving it. You don't have to have the 24 if you're willing to take it on a layover.
Oh, on a layover.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What's the buffer? This would be like 9 something because that'd be the 8 minimum.
9:15
or
or 9 something.
something like that's
Okay.
like 9.5.
Okay. Something else you want to. Your planned absences will show up right on your calendar right before the bid month. So in this example, it shows me to have CQ on the 5th and the 6th. So right away, it already takes out any trips that touch that I can't do a conflict bid. So it's already plotted.
So do we pick our CQ dates?
Yeah, you do it in the Learning Hub.
Before PBS opens. So
When PBS opens, when PBS opens.
yeah.
The days that we want to go
Yeah.
on there with we get that.
Yeah, the classes show up in the Learning Hub. Yeah. So from here, those are days off in line properties. Important to construction of your line. The meat and the potatoes, right? The bricks and mortar of your PBS house are the pairing tabs. Now, I have this in here already. So I'll just use this as an example. I put in here, this could be a generic bid because I didn't bid any specific sequences. In my first layer, and we have to think about reading vertically. Reading vertically is what's most important, right? Because we are used to reading left to right. But if you see here on my first, all I'm asking for in this one is Shanghai in these positions. I'm not asking for any, well, I asked for that day off, so that will count, but I'm not asking anything but Shanghai in these positions, right?
Wait a minute. There's a lot of positions in there. So
Yeah.
how are you being specific with your position?
I'm not. This is the preference of the numbers I'm giving. If you only fly 2, you'd only put 2 in there. But for
Okay,
me,
you put those
I
in
put
there.
these in
Yeah,
there, and
that's-
I'll show you how to do that in a second. Okay. Then my second is it Beijing, right? So layer 2, Beijing. Is that right? Then layer 3, I went to Hong Kong. Hong Kong's on a different plane, so I had to put different positions. 4 is London. I didn't specify which London. I just said anyhow, London will do, and I put positions. Okay. And then in 5, Buenos Aires, positions. 6, Sydney, positions. 7. This is a very rudimentary, sort of simple bit. Okay. I just threw it in there today. Okay. So, if I wanted to do specific trips, okay, I would use, here's these 2 buttons right here. Add more properties, search pairings. If I want to look for specific trips and put them on my line to bid them in layer 1, for instance, okay, I'm going to search for pairings, okay. I'm going to add search criteria. There's a little plus right here. Those are all the property. I'm going to hit that plus. Now you see all these things here that are available to you, right? All those different things. I'm going to say, I'm going to search for London. So I go to layover at the city. Here. Okay. I'm going to do this. I'm going to go back to this a lot. I'm going to use layover at city a lot. Okay. Favorite it. You hit that little bag tag. That means the next time you return to this page, it'll be at the top of the page. So you don't have to keep looking through all 33 of these properties. Okay. So hitting on here, I'm going to look for London. There it is. I hit London. Add it to my search. All the Londons show up. Here they all are. And here's the little calendar I can bid them from, right? There's 3 pages of Londons. So let's say, what's the code? What's the 300 code?
83.
83. So I would like to fly the 300 as my first.
No, I think 82 is 300, 83 is 200. You can check on the dashboard. I can't recall off the top of my head. I just looked it up earlier, but I think 83 is
Well, let's say,
200. 83
okay.
is 200, I think.
Let's say 80. Okay, cool. So let's say 82 is the 300, right? So I want to fly the 300. So we are looking for 80 equipment 80 code 82. So I'm going to go here, and here's an 82. Oh, but I can't do it. Why? Because I have a conflict on both of those. So I'm going to go back here.
82 is the 300.
Okay. Here's the 300, right? You know what? I just don't care about which one of these I do. I just want London. That's what I want. If I didn't care, give me London to my credit range. I could hit on this pair, on that little, so I hit on the sequence. I put in a layer 1, and I hit that in layer 1. All those Londons are there. Now, it can only give me whatever my credit range is, right? London's worth 22. If I'm bidding high credit, it's going to give me 5, right? If I'm bidding regular, probably it's going to give me, 80 to 90, it'll give me 4. If I'm bidding 60 to 70, it'll give me 3, okay? But I say, well, you know what, to be honest, I really don't want to do just any old London. I want to do Monday London, and I only want the 300. So I hit here, add it to layer 1. I hit here, add it to layer 1 on the calendar. I'm never leaving this page. Layer 1. Layer 1. So in my layer, I put all Monday Londons, right? They're all right there. I'm searching them. Remember, I searched for them, and then I put them here. Now, if I'm one of these people that's like, I don't really care if it's a Monday London, but I'm not going out on a weekend, and I'm not gonna mark the days off, because I just know that I want to go out to London on Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday. I don't really care which. I could now hit there. Because it can only give me one of these, right? So I'm increasing my odds in this layer of getting one of these Londons because it's a 3-day trip, right? So I can put it all in layer 1. Because I don't want to bid, I don't want to bid, I put that already created.
You can put that all in the first?
Yeah, because look, it's only going to give me one of these, right? But I'm increasing my odds in my first layer of getting however many positions. Let's say I only fly 10 or 11. Well, I don't want to burn layers and put 10, 11, one trip, one trip, one trip, one trip. Next layer, one trip, one. Well, I only care about flying 10 or 11. I'll take 10 or 11 on any of those trips during the week. So I've increased my odds triple every week by bidding 3 each week. You can do it with any trip.
Is there, does it go, will it take it in order? Like, can you prefer Monday over that, or it's just crapshoot?
It's wherever it is. Doesn't guarantee it. If that's an important thing to you, then do it. Monday is your first layer. Then move to, and maybe it is, and that's fine. Put Monday, London in your first layer. Move to layer 2. Then put the Tuesday and the Wednesday, because at that point, Tuesday and Wednesday are the same thing, right? It's just a way to do it. Or position-wise. Let's say the position is most important. I only fly 5 on the 300. That's the most important thing. I'm going to go 5, these 3, because now I've increased my odds, right, by triple. And then the second layer, maybe 5 or 4. It's just how, that's what I'm saying. It's like there's that many different ways, because everybody's got a different priority. Position, destination, departure time, you know, it's different ways to do it. So that could be my layer 1. That could be layer 1 very easily. And then if I go to layer 2, let's say, now remember that was the 300, right? Let's say in layer 2, I want to open it up and I will give the 200, okay? So 83, yeah, and 80. It's all we have. It's a weird month. We lose it the second month for a while, for 2 weeks or something like that. Yeah, so it's a bad choice. Okay, so if I can't go to LA, I'm not going there. So I'm going to look for something else. So now I'm going to search for something else. Add more search criteria. I'm going to say if I can't go to London, I'm going to go to Hong Kong because that's also 777, right? So I'm going to say, where did my layover C go? There it is. So I'm going to look for Hong Kong. Add. Here's easy, right? So here's Hong Kong. So it's my second choice. But I only want to do it if I have to do Hong Kong, I want to go out on Sundays. So I'm going to hit Sunday in layer 2. Sunday in layer 2. How much is Hong Kong worth? It's worth 28. So the system's only going to be able to give me 3 of these. But that's okay. I'm good with that. Okay. So that's my layer 2. There. Okay. I did something with
You hit 3.
Did I hit 3? Okay.
How did you put it in the layer 2? You went up to the.
I went to the calendar. I just went to look here
Okay.
at layer 2. See how both calendars
Oh, yeah.
are there? I didn't mean to do that. I wanted to take this out of there though and put it in layer 2. So see how this is over here? And you can just move it. Take it out of 3.
That's your day off.
Yeah. There you go. Okay. Wait. Oh, did I move my day off?
You didn't hit the actual green part.
Okay.
Click on the actual green. You click on the day off. You're clicking on the day off.
Oh, okay. Oh, I have to do that
Yeah,
thing.
click on the actual. There you go. No, a little lower. Here, right in the green. There you go. Yeah, there. Yeah.
Okay.
And then put it.
So put it in 2. Take it out of 3. Did you guys see that? Can you see that? It showed exactly what the trip was. Okay, so that's those 2 layers. Okay, and I could continue to go on after Hong Kong, put something else in there. That's bidding specifically. Okay, I am taking those trips, I am using the search engine, and I'm putting them on there. Okay? I used London and Hong Kong. It's easy. You could do the same thing with Hawaii. You could do, if you were, let's say you were doing, let's say I'm down to layer 7, just for shits and giggles. I'm going to add more search criteria. I'm going to look for pairing type. Prefer pairing type. Here it is. I prefer pairing type, then I'm going to go and look for premium transcon. Add it to my search criteria. Here's all the premium transcons showing up, okay? There are 15 pages, there's 3 on a page. So if I wanted to look through here, I could look through each one and see what they do. This one leaves at 8, gets back, has a 17-hour layover. They're all here, right? So let's say I like the look of this one that leaves at 1, gets back at 2:20, has a 12-hour layover. Looks good to me. I'll do a smattering of any of those. Once again, I could hit that, and I could put that in layer 7 as a backup.
And that's kind of what you're doing here, right?
And if you see right here, they all show up down there. I go to layer 7 and make sure that's where they are. There they all are. Once again, it's only going to give me one of those, right? There's that overlap. It's going to give me one of those, not both. So that's searching and placing. Searching and placing versus letting the system work for me, which was my initial bid. Let me go to the layer tab where we check our work. And you can see in here I have a mix of stuff, right? Because I already did that bid that I had created. This bid right here with using all of these properties which were generic properties. And then I went, and this goes to the question about specific versus generic. So what and if I were to leave this as it is, right? I have 248 in my first layer. Well, that includes what I've specifically bid, which were, remember those Londons on the 300, right? And Shanghai in these positions. I mixed it all together. The system doesn't know what I prefer. It doesn't know that I prefer Shanghai, or it doesn't know that I prefer London. So what would I do if I preferred London?